Ever think about leaving a legacy? Being remembered for generations to come.
Of course. Who wouldn't want that?
Well, today, we're going to dive into the story of someone who did just that.
Oh, sounds fascinating.
It really is. We're talking about Ada Lovelace.
Ada Lovelace.
You might know her as Lord Byron's daughter.
Oh, right, the famous poet.
Exactly. But Ada, she wanted to be known for something much more than her family name.
I see. So, beyond just being Byron's daughter.
Way beyond. What's really amazing is she lived back in the 1800s, but had these ideas about technology that seem so modern even today.
Wow, that's ahead of her time.
It's like she was looking into the future. So we're going to explore her life, her work, and her incredible ideas.
Sounds like a plan.
She had this idea about something called poetical science.
Poetical science, what's that?
It was her way of bringing together creativity and logic.
Interesting.
And it's this idea that let her see the potential of computing beyond just crunching numbers.
So not just math equations and calculations.
Right. She saw that computers could be used for so much more.
Wow, that's impressive for someone in the 1800s.
It really is.
So where do we even begin with her story?
Well, let's rewind all the way back to the beginning. Ada's story starts in 1815, right here in London.
London, huh?
Yep. And her parents, well, they were Lord Byron, as we said,
The poet?
and Annabel Milbank,
Okay.
let's just say. They were a pretty scandalous couple.
Scandalous. How so?
Their marriage, it lasted barely a month after Ada was born.
Oh, wow. So she didn't really have a typical family life.
Not at all. And Annabella, she was really determined to shield Ada from her father's influence.
From Lord Byron.
Yeah, she was worried Ada would inherit what she called his madness.
Madness. Because of his poetry and his lifestyle.
Exactly. So Annabella, she focused Ada's upbringing on logic and math.
Trying to make her more rational, less like Byron.
That seems to be the idea. But here's the thing.
What's that?
Ada's creativity, it just couldn't be contained.
Ah, so she got that from her father after all.
Well, maybe. For instance, as a kid, Ada was obsessed with flying.
Flying, literally.
She would try to build wings out of paper.
Yeah.
She even planned a whole book on flyology.
Flyology, huh?
As like this early drive of hers, this determination.
Yeah.
It kind of foreshadows all the amazing things she would do later on.
I see, so it's all connected.
Now, this brings us to a really important moment in Ada's life.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Her encounter with Charles Babbage.
Charles Babbage.
He was the inventor of the analytical engine.
Okay.
Now, picture London in the 1800s.
Bustling with activity, I imagine.
All these salons and gatherings of brilliant minds.
The intellectual scene must have been incredible.
It was. And Ada, thanks to mentors like Mary Somerville,
I've heard of her.
Ada ends up at a party hosted by Babbage himself.
Oh, wow. What a chance encounter.
Right. Now, Babbage, at this party,
Yeah.
he was showing off his latest invention,
Which was?
the Silver Lady,
Mm.
an incredible mechanical doll.
Sounds impressive.
It was. But while everyone else was fascinated by the doll, Ada's attention, it was captured by something else entirely.
What was that?
The partially built analytical engine,
The what?
a massive steam-powered computing machine.
Whoa, a computer in that era?
Well, kind of. It was groundbreaking for its time.
I bet.
And it's like Ada saw something in that machine.
Yeah.
Something that even Babbage, the inventor, hadn't fully grasped.
So she saw its true potential.
Exactly. It's what makes her so remarkable. She was a true visionary.
Able to see beyond the obvious.
Right. And, a few years later, Babbage, he asked Ada to translate an Italian paper about the analytical engine.
Sounds like a straightforward task.
It seemed that way, just a simple translation.
Uh-huh.
But Ada, she went way beyond that.
Really? How so?
She added her own notes, her own insights.
Right.
The original paper, it was 8,000 words.
Okay.
Ada's notes. They ended up being 20,000 words.
Wow. So she more than doubled it.
It's in these notes that her truly revolutionary vision for computing really takes shape.
I see. So it was more than just a translation.
Much more. And it wasn't just about numbers,
What do you mean?
Ada predicted that this machine, it could work with symbols, it could even compose music.
Compose music on a computer.
That's what she envisioned. The possibilities were just endless.
That's incredible. I mean, that's way ahead of its time.
It really is. To think about what computers can do today.
Yeah.
And Ada, she saw the seeds of that all the way back then.
Mind-blowing.
And that brings us to what's considered her most significant contribution.
Which is?
Note G.
Note G, okay.
Tucked away in those extensive notes of hers.
And what's so special about Note G?
It's an algorithm.
Algorithm, like a set of instructions.
Exactly. Instructions for the analytical engine. And many consider it to be the first computer program ever written.
The first computer program. Wow.
Think about that. Written in the 1840s.
It's hard to even imagine.
Now, it's true that Noji wasn't executable like how we think of programs today.
Right, technology was different then.
But Ada's thinking, her thought process, it was groundbreaking.
It laid the foundation.
Absolutely. Her forward thinking is what makes her work so fascinating.
So it's the ideas behind it, even if it couldn't actually run on a computer back then.
Right. She was thinking way ahead of her time.
I wonder what she would think of technology today.
It's a question that keeps me up at night sometimes. Smartphones, artificial intelligence.
The internet, it's all come so far.
It's mind-boggling, and it all stems from those early pioneers like Ada.
It makes you appreciate the journey.
It really does. But sadly, Ada's journey was cut short.
Oh.
She died quite young, at the age of 36.
Wow, so young.
Her full potential was never realized.
That's heartbreaking.
It is, but even in her short life, she achieved something truly remarkable.
Leaving behind a legacy like that, it's incredible.
And it's why we celebrate her legacy with Ada Lovelace Day,
I've heard of that.
recognizing the amazing contributions of women in STEM.
It's so important to highlight those achievements.
Absolutely. But Ada's journey to recognition, it wasn't always easy.
What do you mean?
There have been attempts to downplay her accomplishments, to cast a shadow over her work.
Oh no, why would anyone do that?
That's a sad reality. But throughout history, the contributions of women, especially in male-dominated fields,
Yeah.
they've often been pushed aside or minimized.
That's awful.
It is. But thankfully, dedicated historians and scientists,
Yeah.
they fought hard to bring Ada's story to light.
To give her the recognition she deserves.
And that's what makes our deep dive today so important.
I'm ready to learn more.
We're not just exploring Ada's genius.
Right.
We're also looking at the forces that tried to erase her from history.
It makes you think, how many other brilliant minds have been overlooked just because of their gender?
It's a question we should all be asking ourselves.
It's definitely something to ponder.
So, are you ready to take a closer look at Ada's life and work?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Great. Let's start by delving into her family dynamics and the unique challenges she faced growing up as Lord Byron's daughter.
I'm all ears.
You know, having Lord Byron as a father, that must have cast a long shadow over Ada's life.
I can imagine. He was such a larger-than-life figure.
And then there's Annabella, Ada's mother, constantly worried that Ada would inherit her father's so-called poetical madness.
She really tried to push Ada in a different direction.
It makes you wonder how these early influences shape a person's path.
Right. Nature versus nurture. It's a fascinating question.
Did being told she might be mad like her father affect Ada's self-perception?
It's certainly possible. But what's inspiring is that she defied those expectations and forged her own path.
Exactly, and we can't forget the crucial role that other women played in her life.
Oh yeah, like Mary Somerville, right?
Her and others, like Mary Montgomery, who introduced Ada to London's intellectual circles.
They created a supportive network for her.
Exactly. They recognized and nurtured her potential.
It's so important to have those mentors and role models.
It really is, especially during a time when women's intellectual contributions were often dismissed.
It makes you realize how much societal norms can impact a person's journey.
And speaking of defying expectations, did you know that Ada tried to elope with her tutor when she was younger?
What? Really?
That's right.
She definitely had a rebellious streak.
No doubt about it. Ada was always pushing against the constraints placed upon her.
Always seeking intellectual freedom.
It's this independent spirit that's key to understanding her later work.
I'm starting to see the connections.
Now, let's talk about Ada's marriage to William King.
Later known as the Earl of Lovelace, right?
Yep, that's him.
Yeah.
How do you think this relationship influenced her intellectual journey?
Well, on one hand, it seems William was supportive of her pursuits.
At least initially.
Yeah, he encouraged her to use the gender-neutral pen name AAL when publishing her notes on the analytical engine.
That's a good point. He recognized her brilliance and understood the challenges she faced as a woman in science.
But I imagine it wasn't all smooth sailing.
You're right, their paths diverged in many ways.
How?
Ada was consumed by her passion for computing, always pushing boundaries.
Well, William.
He was bound by his responsibilities as an earl, likely more focused on social standing and traditional roles.
I can see how that would create tension.
especially in that era.
And don't forget about Ada's health.
Oh yeah, she struggled with various ailments throughout her life.
It makes you wonder how much more she could have achieved if she hadn't been burdened by those health issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a reminder of how much access to modern healthcare can impact a person's ability to thrive.
It really puts things into perspective.
Now, there's another aspect of Ada's personal life that we haven't touched upon yet.
Okay, what's that?
Imagine the shock she must have felt when she discovered she had a half-sister.
A half-sister. I didn't know about this.
It was a secret kept from her for years.
Wow.
It turns out Lord Byron had an affair with his own half-sister,
That's scandalous.
and their child was Ada's half-sister.
Talk about a family secret.
It's a reminder that behind all the intellectual achievements, there's a human story filled with drama and complexity.
You're right. It adds another layer to her story.
And this revelation, it seemed to have deeply affected Ada.
How so?
It fueled her desire to forge her own identity, separate from the scandal and notoriety of her father's legacy.
I can understand that.
It's like this discovery ignited a fire within her
To define herself on her own terms.
through her intellect and her contributions to science.
It's a powerful motivator.
It really is.
So let's go back to Note G for a moment.
Okay?
We know it's considered the first computer program,
Yeah.
but what truly sets it apart? What's so special about it?
Note G, it's more than just a program.
Okay.
It's a glimpse into the future, a blueprint for what computing could become.
I see.
Ada saw beyond just calculations.
She saw the bigger picture.
She envisioned machines composing music, creating art, maybe even unlocking the secrets of the universe.
Wow, that's visionary.
And all this in a time when women were barely allowed to voice their opinions, let alone public scientific papers.
It's incredible that she was able to do all of this.
It speaks volumes about her determination to break free from societal constraints.
And her passion for her work.
Absolutely.
So why were there attempts to discredit her work? Why was she denied the recognition she deserved for so long?
It's a question that deserves attention, and sadly, it's a recurring theme throughout history.
What do you mean?
Whenever a woman achieves something extraordinary, there's often an attempt to minimize her contributions
Oh no, really?
or attribute them to a man.
That's so unfair.
In Ada's case, some claim that Charles Babbage was the true mastermind behind her work.
But that's not true at all.
Exactly. We have her notes, her letters, her own words expressing her vision and understanding of computing.
It's clear that she was a driving force behind those ideas.
And thankfully, scholars and historians have worked tirelessly to set the record straight.
To restore her rightful place in history.
It's a battle that continues to this day.
But we're making progress.
And it's not just about acknowledging Ada as the first computer programmer.
It's about so much more than that.
Her story is a testament to the power of imagination, the importance of defying expectations,
It's about recognizing the contributions of women in STEM.
and about celebrating the enduring impact of someone who dared to dream of a future where technology could unlock the secrets of the universe.
That's beautifully said.
Sadly, that future was cut short for Ada,
Yes, she died far too young.
but her legacy continues to inspire us
It encourages us to embrace our own potential.
and to strive for innovation, to push the boundaries of what's possible.
That's a powerful message.
And in a world that often focuses on limitations,
Right?
it's a message we need to hold on to.
Absolutely.
So as we continue our deep dive into Ada Lovelace's life,
Yeah.
let's keep her spirit of innovation and determination with us.
Okay.
Let's challenge the status quo, embrace our inner visionaries,
I like that.
and strive to build a future worthy of her dreams.
I'm ready. Let's continue exploring Ada's story.
Great. Now, where were we? Yes. Let's delve deeper into Note G and uncover the brilliance behind her groundbreaking algorithm.
I'm fascinated to hear more about this Note G.
It's truly remarkable, especially considering the limitations of technology at the time.
It's mind-blowing to think about what she accomplished with the tools she had.
Let's break it down and see what insights we can glean from her work.
This sounds like a plan. Lead the way.
So imagine this. You're Ada Lovelace in the 1840s working with Charles Babbage on this massive steam-powered machine.
I'm trying to picture it.
It's unlike anything the world has ever seen before.
A true marvel of engineering.
You see the potential, the power this machine holds.
To do more than just calculation.
Exactly. And you set out to write a set of instructions
A program.
that will unlock its true capabilities.
Note G.
Precisely. Now, this Note G, It's not just a simple set of steps.
Okay.
It's a complex algorithm, a series of logical operations designed to be executed by the analytical engine.
Even though the machine wasn't fully built yet.
Right, that's the amazing part.
Hmm.
Ada was conceptualizing how this machine could work.
Before it even existed.
It's like writing software for a computer that hasn't been invented yet.
Wow, that takes some serious foresight.
Ingenious.
So, what exactly did Note G do?
Well, it outlined a process for calculating a sequence of Bernoulli numbers.
Bernoulli numbers.
They're a complex mathematical concept.
Okay.
But what's important here isn't the specific calculation.
What is it then?
It's the way Ada approached the problem.
Uh-huh.
She broke it down into a series of steps.
Okay.
Logical operations that could be executed by the machine.
I see.
Essentially, she was describing a process, a recipe for computation.
A recipe.
It's a great way to put it. And this recipe, this algorithm,
Yeah.
it's considered the foundation of modern programming.
So, all the software we use today,
It can be traced back to Ada's groundbreaking work.
it's amazing to think about the impact she's had.
And to think, all of this was happening over 170 years ago.
It's mind-boggling.
So how did Ada come up with these ideas? What inspired her?
I'm eager to delve into that part of her story.
Well, her upbringing definitely played a role.
Right, with a focus on logic and mathematics.
But it was more than just her education.
What else?
Ada had this innate curiosity, this drive to understand how things worked.
That makes sense.
And she saw the potential of the analytical engine to go beyond just simple calculations.
To explore new possibilities.
She believed it could be used to create art, to compose music,
To push the boundaries of human creativity.
and she was right. Today, we see computers being used in all sorts of creative ways.
Music production, graphic design, film editing.
It's all thanks to the vision of pioneers like Ada Lovelace.
It's truly inspiring.
It is. And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay,
I want to leave you with a question to ponder.
I'm all ears.
What would Ada think of the technology we have today?
That's a good one.
Would she be amazed by the progress we've made?
Or would she be disappointed that we haven't pushed the boundaries further?
It's something to think about as we continue to explore her legacy.
I'm looking forward to uncovering more about her story.
Me too. Join us next time as we delve deeper into Ada's life and work.
Can't wait.
We'll be exploring the challenges she faced, the people who supported her, and the lasting impact of her contributions to the world of computing.
Sounds like a fascinating journey ahead.
It really is.
Yeah.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
That's a great way to end this part. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Ben, bye.
Bye.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. But all the hidden figures in history. But we were talking about Ada. To understand how brilliant she was, we really need to get her whole story,
Oh, absolutely. Her life, it wasn't easy. She had a really unusual upbringing. And back then, well, women weren't exactly encouraged to be scientists.
Not at all. So let's start with her family. Having Lord Byron as your dad, that's a lot to live up to, right?
It must have been tough. And then her mom, Annabella, she was so scared that Ada would be mad, like Byron.
That poetical madness, she called it.
Right. And that's why she made sure Ada studied logic and math. Anything but poetry, basically.
It's so interesting how those early years can shape you.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. Even with all that, Ada still carved out her own path. And don't forget about the other women in her life. They were so important.
You're right. Like Mary Somerville, we mentioned her earlier, and Mary Montgomery, too. They were the ones who brought Ada into these amazing intellectual circles in London.
It was like a whole support system, right? They saw how brilliant she was and helped her along the way.
They really did. And talk about defying expectations. Remember that time Ada tried to elope with her tutor?
Whoa, really? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. She was a rebel at heart. Always pushing the limits.
You can definitely see that in her work, too.
Okay, so let's talk about her marriage to William King, who later became the Earl of Lovelace. Do you think their marriage helped her with her science, or did it make things harder?
It's tricky, It seems like William was supportive, at least at the beginning. He even encouraged Ada to use that pen name, AAL, when she published her work on the analytical engine.
Right, so no one would know she was a woman.
Exactly. So he must have understood how hard it was for women in science back then.
But it couldn't have been easy being married to someone who was so focused on science and math all the time.
True. Ada, she was always thinking about computing, exploring new ideas. And William, well, he was an earl. He had different priorities.
Definitely different worlds. Plus, Ada wasn't always healthy. She had a lot of health problems throughout her life. It makes you think about how much she could have done if she hadn't been sick.
Oh, I know. It's heartbreaking to think about all the potential that was lost. But she still achieved so much. It's incredible how resilient she was.
And you know what's even more crazy? Ada found out she had a half-sister later in life.
Wait, what? A half-sister?
Yeah, and get this, Lord Byron had an affair with his own half-sister.
Wow, that's a lot to process.
I know, right? It makes you think about all the secrets families keep. But for Ada, finding out about her half-sister, it really seemed to change her.
In what way?
She wanted to make her own mark on the world, separate from all the Byron family drama.
I can see that. To be known for something she did, not just who her father was.
Exactly. And note G, her famous algorithm, that was part of her trying to create her own legacy. It wasn't just a program. It was a vision for the future of computing.
It's like she saw what computers could become. Even back then, it's incredible.
But why do you think people tried to say her work wasn't really hers? Why would they try to discredit her?
Honestly, I think it's because she was a woman. It happens so often in history. When a woman does something amazing, people try to say she didn't really do it, or a man helped her.
Like with Charles Babbage. Some people said he was a real genius behind no G.
But we have her notes, her letters. She clearly understood computing in a way that was way ahead of her time.
And thankfully, historians are finally giving her the credit she deserves.
It's about time. Ada Lovelace was a pioneer. Her story is a powerful reminder that we should never give up on our dreams, no matter the obstacles.
And that even when people try to silence you, your work can still change the world.
Absolutely. Ada's legacy is a testament to the power of imagination and the importance of challenging the status quo.
And her story, it's not over yet. We're still learning about her life and work today.
I can't wait to see what else we uncover about Ada Lovelace.
Me too. But sadly, her life was cut short.
Oh, right. She died so young.
It makes you think about all the things she could have accomplished if she'd lived longer.
It's a tragic reminder that life is precious and we should cherish every moment. But Ada's impact, it's still felt today. She inspires us to think differently, to push the boundaries of what's possible.
And to never underestimate the power of a woman with a vision. It's amazing, right? We live in this world shaped by the tech that Ada basically predicted. But most people don't even know her name.
It's true. It's kind of a hidden chapter in the whole history of computers and everything.
But that also gives us a chance to do something. Ada's story shows us that we're always rethinking history, figuring things out. And we got to make sure the voices that were silenced, especially women in science, they get heard.
I agree. So how do we keep Ada's legacy going? It's more than just Ada Lovelace Day, right? How do we actually make her vision happen?
Well, I think we need to change the stereotypes about women in science and tech. We have to encourage girls to follow their interests, give them the tools and mentors to succeed.
Like, create a world where someone like Ada wouldn't have to struggle so hard to be heard.
Exactly. Where talent is recognized no matter who you are.
And there are groups already working on this. We can support those organizations that are promoting diversity in STEM fields.
And let's not forget about telling her story. We need to talk about her, share her accomplishments, introduce her to new people. That's how we keep her legacy alive.
Absolutely. It's not just about Ada, it's about all the incredible women who've changed the world of science. Their stories need to be told.
Ada's legacy, it's not just about what she did, it's about potential, you know?
Right.
The potential that's inside all of us, no matter who we are or where we come from.
It shows that we can use our imagination to shape the future, to create tech that helps people, like Ada dreamed.
That's something to hold on to, especially when the world feels so limited sometimes.
You're right. So as we finish up our deep dive into Ada Lovelace, let's carry her spirit with us.
Let's challenge things, find our inner visionaries, and build a future that would make her proud.
Maybe someday we'll be talking about your amazing accomplishments on this show.
Well, until then, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep pushing the limits of what's possible.
That's a great way to end it. Thanks for this conversation.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for listening.